My hands stable, I feel able to turn the tables, I could do this. Just keep moving, keep your hands up, stupid. I feel lucid, a new viewing. I can see the end, I can see my future, I can view it. It's right there for the taking. Everything I've ever wanted, dreams are just waiting. I just gotta fight for it, willing to die for it, willing to like sort of.
Hey, greetings from the year 3000, it still sucks. This is Philip J. Price, and you're listening to the Drunken Turkey Show, your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
Just like every other podcast. Welcome back to the Drunk Turkey Show. I'm Daniel. Alongside with me, as always on Wednesday nights, is Big Blue. Big Blue, how you doing, my man?
What's going on, everybody? I'm doing good. I'm off tonight, so enjoying this nice cold little breeze that we have.
Nice, man. Yeah, it is pretty nice outside. It was chilly the other day. It got really cold out here, actually, a little bit there. It was. I think it hit freezing for like a couple of days there. That's rare here in Texas. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean it was cold enough to burst a couple of water lines here and there, and cold enough to stop a little bit of the highway traffic with people losing control. I think there was a jackknife on I-10, like always, because people don't slow down. So it was interesting couple of days.
Yeah, we stayed in for the most part. We left here for the first time, I think, today when it was like 40 degrees. So no danger there. But what's that, Blue?
I'd say, yeah, it was nice today. Like it got in the 40s, 30s this afternoon.
Nice. Well, we have a special guest today. He's a returning guest. He is former candidate for Illinois governor and a former pro wrestler, and also a current candidate for presidency. Welcome back, Jon Stewart. How's it going, my man?
Well, apparently I'm a candidate for presidency, but I will explain that, I'm sure, at the end of it. So, I'm doing great. So glad to be back with you two. I had so much fun the last time we were on. Not that what I'm coming on for, as far as this, what was emailed in my story, my other story that I have shared with the public is not so funny. But I am delighted to be back on your show. I had a great time the first time, and I'm sure, no doubt, we will put another one in the record books after this is all done. But thank you for having me, and hello and hi to all of your listeners and viewers.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yes, and thank you guys, all the subscribers, mods, everybody. You guys are. We appreciate you guys. So I recently saw you on an episode of Redacted, and you were coming out with some information about Lockheed Martin. But before we get into everything there, let's start off in the beginning with that. How did you get? How was somebody contacting you about Lockheed Martin? Where did it start off at?
Right. And I'm glad I got to read a bunch of Reddit posts, because everyone on Reddit knows everything. Just ask them; they'll tell you. But seriously, what was good about that is I hope I can cater my speech to exactly what happened, so there's no strings left on the sweater of the story, if that makes sense. So I'm really going to try my best. Folks, I'm not a professional investigator. I'm not a TV personality. So, sometimes things don't come out as the way I present them in my own head. So with that being said, I have been doing podcasts for about 4.5 years to talk about, as part of my obligation to a production company that is trying to put out a documentary simply about the truth of that bizarre 1997 Area 51 alien interview. Okay, that's it. That's it. I have an obligation to promote it, to put it out. It's very personally cathartic for me. It has, and I think the production company knew this, as I have done this for the past 4.5 years. The plethora of people that have come to me through email and text. Even when I had the family business stopping off at our business, we had a couple of people from the internet stop at our
Mhm.
family business and chew my ear and give me some information. And so that is not uncommon for people to come and email me. In the past, since the first redacted appearance, which was, I think, 4 months ago, I have been besieged by military whistleblowers, insiders that used to or currently work for government contractors in this special access programs involving extraterrestrials and other things. I've had a DARPA scientist come out to me. I've had a Navy psychiatrist come to me, and I'm honored. It must, I don't know if it's maybe my congenial nature. I'm not a hard ass. I'm not stiff. I'm an open book. I'm an open guy, and maybe people feel comfortable, treating me like Fraser Crane, like, like I'm a therapist on the radio, to say, hey, look, I was in these programs. I dealt with extraterrestrials or craft, and here it is. And over the course of 4 years, and especially the past, 3 or 4 months, you can tell a military insider email the credibility in 12 seconds. The vernacular, the abbreviations, the wording, they're usually very polite. Um, they come across highly educated. It's almost like if David Grusch was emailing you, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm not an idiot. Most agree. I vetted this person who,
Mhm.
first week of December, I get an email. Mr. Stewart, I caught you on a podcast. I thought you did a great job. You're very sincere. That said to me a lot, that I'm sincere. And I don't know if that's a trigger for these people, but very sincere. And I just wanted to tell you about a very disturbing story that that I that I knew about, however he worded it, when I worked for Lockheed.
Mhm.
In the military, I'm not gonna say what branch. I worked for the DIA. I then worked for Lockheed. I now work for a subcontractor. I Googled the name of the subcontractor, and it's very scary what they do,
Mhm.
just the deep black programs that they help do for the government.
Mhm.
And, I could tell by the first email, you could tell this is an insider in 10 seconds. And he said, "When I worked for Lockheed, I wanna tell you about an event that happened in 2004 where," and I'm gonna go to the jump to it, where Lockheed had its own UFO, UAP, NHI, non-human intelligent crash retrieval team. I'm gonna
Mhm.
repeat that. Lockheed had its internal crash retrieval team for UAPs, UFOs, and NHIs, AVRs, alien reproduction vehicles, alien ARVs.
Mhm.
And I said, well, I know that Lockheed was given material, by the
Right.
government in the 60s, ex- possibly extraterrestrial in nature. He wrote back. He said, "Mr. Stewart, you have to let me finish. This goes so much more deeper than just Lockheed being handed, you know, a piece of off-planet craft or an actual intact craft."
Right.
And he laid out the whole story. I want to be clear. I know I said this a million times on Redacted. I'm going to say it a bunch of times now. This is what was emailed me. I can't verify the veracity of it. I don't know
Mhm.
if it's true or not, but I can tell you the person that sent it is verified being from DIA, Lockheed, and working for this other special access program defense contractor. I can tell you that I gave this story without telling the punchline to two military intelligence insiders who both said that the story was 100% accurate. And one of them, I will tell you what else they said. So I just want to let you know that cannot verify this story. I'm not investigating this story. This is what I was told. And because my emails were swiped off my phone 2 days before I was gonna go on Redacted, and I'm
Mhm.
communicating with Redacted about this story, I got out of my car, I got back in my car because Reddit users want me to explain this. I picked up my phone to call my wife. 235 read but not deleted emails were gone off my phone. Gone. You went into and they're on 4 email platforms on my iPhone: Gmail, iCloud, 2 AOL emails, my father's and myself. My father and I had a business
A-
together.
And this happened recently, the swiped emails?
This was Monday.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the fourth time that this happened. My wife's like, this is ridiculous. Something's going on. You're not crazy. And you have to do something about this. You know, my wife, we are not panicked. We don't wear tinfoil hats. We're not panic stricken. I simply drove to my police station where I live. I made what's called an incident report. I got an incident report number. The police officer took me very seriously, and he said, if this had happened to me on 4 email platforms, I'd be coming here too. So don't worry about that. I think you're crazy. I don't. Okay.
Right.
And then I also went to the FBI, gave them the incident number, and also filed a report with the FBI. I have not heard back from the FBI about,
That's
my
insane.
emails. I'm a businessman. I have a major commercial real estate deal that's closing. All of the inner office or memos between me and the realtors, me and my lawyer, and stuff like that, were disappeared. I want to tell people, send a reply to any email you get because that will keep it in your sent emails. So thank God I still had them in my sent emails. Thank God.
Mhm.
But to go back and go through all of the emails and put them, make them refresh and stuff like that was ridiculous. So
Oh, wow.
I
But
do
you were
want to
able to
redact.
recover them.
I was able to recover them through my
Okay,
sent
good deal.
emails. Yeah.
Good deal.
And so and that's another thing people said, well, how does he have the emails from this guy if they're all swiped? Well, because I sent emails back to him. So I was able to get the chain of emails and I printed them
Mm.
out also. So thank you, people, for letting me explain how about the emails missing. And this is why I came to went on, that I was going to go on, that I went to, to Clayton Morris
Mhm.
to just like come out in public with this because I was fearful. So this former Lockheed whistleblower writes me this, tells me a little story. And I don't have the notes in front of me, so bear with me, folks. I have pro wrestler and COVID brain, but I've got this down pat almost. In the 60s, Lockheed was given off planet craft by the United States government for the purpose of reverse engineering it. Okay. And also to keep it off of prying eyes of Congress, oversight committees, and the public, because
Mm.
it's now in corporate hands. Very smart by the government, by the way. Lockheed came up with some sort of what they called, or someone in the UFO community called a flux liner, and they presented this to the government. I believe in the early 70s. There's a famous story about somebody going behind a curtain with some brass from the Pentagon, and these crude looking alien reproduction vehicles were sitting there, and they were called flux liners. They worked on it, I believe, electrogravitics, and I'm
Mm.
using a Stephen Greer term, and I believe that's how they operated. And the story goes from this whistleblower that in the 80s, and I won't say how it happened, but Lockheed found the key to the city, so to speak, where they acquired the technology to basically replicate an off-planet vehicle, spacecraft, for lack of a better word, that
Mhm.
could do interstellar travel. The holy grail of propulsion. I don't know
Mm.
what the propulsion system was. I don't know anything of that. All I know is what this man told me. He told me how they did it, which was like Da Vinci Code, which
Yeah.
is goes into a movie esque. But that Lockheed got the key to the castle. They reproduced an alien interstellar craft, and the punchline is they didn't tell the government.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
for whatever reason. So it was to obfuscate and to have this clandestine program of this craft and crafts that they did build that were so revolutionary. Again, they were alien-esque or interplanet, they were, ET-esque craft. They had a problem. What if one of these craft crashed? These are experimental craft, right? I mean,
Yeah.
um, being piloted you know, by men, not extraterrestrials. What if one of these craft What's where to crash? Metropolitan city, even in the desert. What if the government gets a hold of it and says, this wasn't in the briefing 6 months ago, this high-tech craft and whatnot. So this whistleblower writes that Lockheed created its own inner uh, uh, crash recovery team,
Hmm.
almost like a military arm,
Right.
uh, equipped with twin rotor Chinook helicopters, vehicles, um, mercenary-esque or, private contract, private military contractor, security team, a strike team that would go out if a Lockheed alien reproduction vehicle crashed and pounce on it, grab it, acquire it, and bring it back to one of the Lockheed facilities. Crazy story, right? I mean,
Right.
but makes sense. You know, um, this is like coming up with a crazy race car at the Indy 500, and if somebody sees it, the jig is up. So you probably want security all around it at all times. So I don't say
Right.
that that's a bad thing that Lockheed did. The problem is, a guy that ran for Congress and a person that's all about fiscal accountability, the American government has helped Lockheed every step of the way in giving them craft and helping facilitate some sort of a program to benefit us, the American people. And now Lockheed has kind of turned the screws on us, according to this whistleblower, and is obfuscating the government that they that they have these high-tech, alien-esque craft. The story goes that they even this is crazy, but you know what? I've heard a lot more crazier things, in our country than not, that
Mhm.
he even tells a story where Lockheed had a casual conversation with the United States government, the Pentagon, the oversight, whoever this would be looking over these SAP subcontractor programs and said, the craft you gave us in the 60s, well, we build that flux liner, we hit a firewall, that's kind of all we can really do. We just we can't move the needle on this project. And it
Mhm.
was told in this email that somebody from Lockheed actually blurted out, "Do you want it back?" It's like, you're returning the car to a used car lot, like, I don't want it anymore.
Right.
Um, Crazy, crazy story, but fasten your seatbelts because this is just the beginning. So, the government does not know about these high-tech alien-esque craft that Lockheed has built. For everyone right now that is rolling their eyes at me, do you know that Ben Rich, the former CEO of Lockheed Skunk Works, dying of throat cancer, told a group of students at UCLA in I believe, the early 90s, we now have the technology to take ET home and back. So
Oh
you can
wow.
roll your eyes at me and roll your eyes at this whistleblower that emailed me, but the CEO of Lockheed, dying of throat cancer, esophageal cancer, told a group of students, we have the technology to take ET home. Why would he say that? So,
Hmm.
maybe the story isn't that crazy. Here we go. Buckle up for this one. In 2004, I thought it was Southern Nevada, 20 miles south of Las Vegas. It's not. It's Northern Nevada, about 40 miles southeast of the California-Nevada border, kind of a little bit lower than San Francisco, way up Northern Nevada. A Lockheed alien reproduction vehicle starts to have problems and is going down, okay,
Mhm.
into the northern Nevada desert. Lockheed initiates the strike team. Specifically, this was told to me in this email that a Chinook twin rotor Chinook helicopter ferried the Lockheed crash recovery strike team to this crash site. Now, whether it crashed in the ground or it just came down in a hard landing, it was not
Right.
said. Ferried this group of mercenary. I hate to use mercenary because that's an ignorant statement. This group of military security subcontractors to this crash site in a twin rotor Chinook helicopter. I keep saying twin rotor because that's what it kept saying. And
Mhm.
it also said Chinook. Here's the problem. According to this whistleblower, JSOC and NORAD was also tracking this craft, thinking it was an actual alien off-planet vehicle. Are you following me?
Yeah.
So Lockheed, that was another thing that Lockheed also had developed this highly sensitive radar system that could track um, UAPs through when they're coming through dimensionally and other light spectrum ways that they were able to acquire targets and acquire these crafts. I forgot to tell you that. So
Okay.
NORAD and Lockheed are both targeting this craft that is in distress and going down into the desert, right?
Yeah.
JSOC dispatches their own strike team, crash recovery team, because they think this was an alien craft. Now, for people rolling their eyes, the government dispatching UFO crash teams, there was an article 3 weeks ago. The CIA has admitted, or a reporter has found that the CIA had a crash recovery team for these vehicles. David Grusch says this. A million whistleblowers have said this. Let me just, gentlemen, if you just don't would let me for the keyboard warriors, JSOC doesn't operate in the United States. Okay, if that's what you think, that's great. But the team that this person said operates in the United States is called Cobra Sims Team. Sims meaning, no, forgive me here, folks. Specialized Intelligence Mission Section. And I wrote back, I'm like, section. He said, when you have a unit in a military group, it is referred to as a section. If this is true, I'm just telling you. So the strike team from JSOC, anybody from JSOC, don't yell at me. I just telling you what this person said was the
Mhm.
Cobra Sims strike team. The the JSOC team lands at the crash site. Um, and they traverse themselves to the actual craft itself, all the while that the Lockheed strike team is there also. Lockheed sees JSOC coming over the ridge. They don't know who these JSOC soldiers are. I don't know if
Mhm.
JSOC has emblems on their uniforms, if it's subdued like they're in combat. I have no idea. But Lockheed thinks it's terrorists. JSOC thinks probably it's a rogue country or it's a rogue terrorist also that have come on this craft, and a blue on blue, what it's called, firefight ensues. A firefight ensues. And the tragedy of it all, according to this whistleblower, not my investigation, the tragedy of all is 2 JSOC soldiers were killed. He
Oh
made
wow.
specific mention that these JSOC soldiers were of Asian descent. So we have 2004, Northern Nevada, a firefight, blue on blue, where 2 JSOC soldiers, I would refer to them as, lost their life. That's the tragedy. That's the thing that makes me sick. Because of a lack of communication. Wow. I mean,
Right.
that to me, if this is true, is absolutely breathtaking.
Did
That's the
they
story.
did
Go
he
ahead.
tell you like what was the outcome of that? Did Lockheed Martin end up retrieving the craft, or did JSOC? Who ended up retrieving that one?
No, I never got the ending. Like, well, what happened? I
Yeah.
mean, like seriously, what did they finally realize it was blue on blue and they were JSOC or this was Lockheed? I mean, did the JSOC strike team um uh exfil back to the helos? Um, who got the craft? Did Lockheed stay there? Can you imagine the ending of this story? Like, I mean, was somebody from the Pentagon called saying, "Look, we've got a problem. We lied to you. We've got a craft down in the desert, so on and so on and so forth." Um, so I
Are you?
contact. Go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
Go
Are
ahead.
you familiar with the Wilson Davis memos?
I am very familiar with them. Yep.
Do you think there's any kind of correlation between like maybe Lockheed and what Wilson was trying to do? For those that don't know, Wilson was a high official in the military trying to get access to a secret program, and he was denied access to that program. That program was under a civilian contractor, and so kind of sounds like it fits the bill.
Yeah, people have
What are your
written
opinion on
me.
that?
Yep, people have written me. Hey, this is a store. story rings true because Stephen Greer has been saying this for years that, Lockheed has just, gone off on its own. Has gone rogue, so to speak. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. I'm a small
Right.
businessman. I'm a former professional wrestler. I don't, you know, I mean, yes, I've been in the UFO investigate as an investigative researcher documentarian for 5 years, but I don't know if that's true or not. So I called two of my military intelligence insiders who are, everything they've ever told me has been spot on. It's never been wrong. The one military insider, retired, said totally true. Lockheed did reproduce a high-tech alien reproduction vehicle. They did have their own strike recovery team. Okay, fascinating. The second whistleblower. Did you hear about this Lockheed crash retrieval team? Yes, and it's true. Okay. Did you ever hear about this firefight between JSOC and Lockheed in 2004? He didn't say anything. There's a pause
Hmm.
on the phone. I'm like, and I'm waiting. He's like, "Well, the only thing I want to tell you is that it got really bad." I'm like,
Hmm.
"Whoa, wait, what did you say?" He's like, "It got really bad. That's all I want to say." So, is my story from this whistleblower completely untrue? I've got a military insider telling me something went down that was bad, and he doesn't want to talk about it. So, um, this, and again, I want to all the keyboard warriors. This would have been filed with the all of the other emails of all of these other outlandish stories. I believe true, but still outlandish in my email and forgotten. The reason why I came forward was 2 days before I was going to go. Before I 2 days before I was going to go on redacted, these emails came out, and I figured this story had to be told what was told to me. Um, and the person ghosted me. He
Hmm.
asked me a couple of more questions about my own investigation into that crazy 1997 alien interview film that I have, been investigating and wrapping up that investigation. And then he totally ghosted me. He also emailed another journalist. I want to be clear on that. So that's all I'm going to say. He did email another journalist, um, and I intercepted that email because the chain, I feel like I'm
Right.
Columbo or but I did intercept that email chain, and the other journalist commented that he had verified this story and heard about this story years ago too. So, folks, we've got some provenance here, and I'm not trying to sell it. I don't. I mean, I care if two soldiers died. Of course I do, but I'm not
Right.
trying to sell this. I'm just telling you that two military intelligence insiders, a journalist that I don't know, and this whistleblower, and stories from Eric Davis, Richard Dolan, Greer about Lockheed. It's not too far fetched. It's not too far fetched. And what bothers me, and I'll finish here, you know,
Hmm.
having run for Congress, I took an oath of Congress, and I'm not getting melodramatic here, where you swear to uphold the Constitution. And just because I didn't win my race for Congress in 2000 doesn't mean I still, some weird way, still honor that oath. And when you have a publicly traded company, corporation that is almost acting like its own sovereign country, with its own military arm, its own radar, its own soldiers, its own weaponry, its own vehicle platform, its own taking recovered material that's government property and creating their own space force to some degree, for lack of a better word, as crazy as that sounds. I have a fundamental problem with that. I have a fundamental problem with that. You're a publicly traded company, and that is just not the American way. And if you've developed this high tech interstellar craft, well, shouldn't you be using that in whatever way to maybe promote the overall well-being of the world? I don't know. Am I sounding
Yeah.
Frank
No.
Capra-esque? I don't know. It sounds crazy to me. I mean, I know the secrecy of everything. I
Do you
understand. I mean,
think
I
if
understand it. But
they
when
did
you're,
promote it, they would scare somebody else, and they were afraid that it might just start another war?
yeah, probably. I remember hearing a quote from Lyndon Johnson, when they launched Sputnik in the 50s, these guys weren't macho warriors, the government. They were terrified that the Russians were going to have the ability to drop nuclear bombs from space, like some kid on an overpass. So, yeah. And what you're showing here is he then sent me, before he ghosted me, a picture, and I won't say the town, of a Lockheed, he says UAP store, UAVR, alien reproduction vehicle, ARV, I'm sorry, storage facility with these bizarre runways that have geometric shapes. Now, people on Reddit, because Reddit people know everything, said that's a radar site.
Hmm.
Okay, whatever. Looks like a weird runway to me, but and he sent me those two pictures of just, he claims that that is where many of the UAPs and the ARVs are stored. And he also, begged me, do not mention any of the sites of Lockheed, which I won't and I will not ever. And that was his only caveat. And he has disappeared now. And I'm not saying that to hype up the story to, this is a murder mystery or anything like that. He has ghosted me. I don't know if he was compromised. I don't understand why he would stop emailing me. I was giving him adequate, feedback and whatnot, like a good investigator should. But he terminated the interaction.
Wow. But before he did, how many emails do you say that you guys were in correspondence with each other?
He probably sent me 5 different emails, and I sent him 4 emails, 3 emails with follow-up questions. And I have
Okay.
all the emails, you know. So,
And what do you think the motive was to getting the stuff out?
I think he saw somebody on a podcast, myself, that he could open up to, that he could get this
Mhm.
off his chest. This is probably something that bothered him, and I understand that completely. I have a degree in counseling psychology, even though I'm not a licensed therapist. I understand, walking around with a secret or burdens. I understand that from my studies, that or even personally, that's a very hard way to live, to have that pressure and that floating above your heads, metaphorically speaking. And he probably wanted some more information from me, from my investigation. I would think by his questions to me, um, that would help him figure out exactly what, his former employer was doing. And he also mentioned that he did have the names of the 2 Asian air soldiers from JSOC, and was thinking about trying to find their family and stuff. I kind of told him that wouldn't probably be at this point a good idea. I didn't want to even touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Right.
Um, that certainly would touch off a third rail uh, at the Pentagon or Washington D.C. And from my phone call today, this story has gotten a bunch of brass off their chairs, like BlackRock was having a free buffet with alcohol at one of the hotels down the street from Congress. So, I'm being glib, and I shouldn't, because we're talking about 2 dead soldiers. But so for this story to get this kind of traction, which all I wanted it to do was just come forward on one platform, for this story to get this kind of traction, something's there.
Oh yeah.
That's in my investigator opinion. I know when I've touched the third rail in life, politics, pro wrestling, the business world, investigating, UFOs and extraterrestrial phenomena. I know when you touch the third rail, and I could tell by the phone call that I was on today that this story is touching the third rail in Washington. And don't be mad at the messenger. If you didn't steal I'm going to be honest here. If someone in Washington didn't steal my emails, nobody would have about this story. I would have filed this away. But, you're not gonna compromise me and then expect me to, rope a dope in the corner and just be a punching bag. I mean, I'm gonna come out and, protect myself too. I mean, leave me alone, please. I'm real close to the end of the Victor investigation. Believe me, you'll never hear from me again. I'm gonna go fishing and golfing with my wife in semi-retirement. Trust me. The government, I'm the last guy in the world you have to worry about. And I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm gonna stop after this, and we can talk about whatever, answer questions. I've said this a bunch of times in regards to the citizens of this country, and especially the people that are interested in the UAP and the extraterrestrial phenomenon and how all of them think about the government. I want to tell the government something. I'm the only friend you got, because I'm the only sorry son of a bitch that's out here defending the intelligence community, defending the Pentagon, defending the military, defending our government, telling people that they're doing the best they can most of the time. This is, this is an animal, an out of control wild beast, this extraterrestrial phenomenon. Let's give them a
Mhm.
wide berth. I also thought we should have some sort of a bipartisan uh, 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 board committee like they did in South Africa when Mandela took over, where you just expunge everyone and all the misdeeds and all the illegal activity and move on as a country. You know, let's move together as a country, whether Republican, Democrat, Libertarian. Let's move forward. And again, I'm not making a campaign speech, but I will end this segment with this statement. Wherever I heard this, I don't remember, but this country used to be this beautiful, shining palace on top of a hill of democracy and freedom. A palace with no kings, no queens, no princes, and no princesses, only subjects. And the subjects were beholden to only each other. And I know this country who have people volunteering for coaching little league football and people that help their neighbors and pull off the side of the road and help a stranded motorist and people that fight for our country and put their lives for our country. We are we are still a great society, and I think we should use this extraterrestrial phenomenon as the glue that can bring us back together. And let's all of us, everyone, regardless of our politics, our mindset, our beliefs, let's come together as a country and make that palace on top of the hill shine brightly for democracy and freedom once again. I really believe that.
100%. 100%.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just wanted to say, somebody asked me on a drink. I'm drinking a beer that's called the Fat Squirrel. Yeah, it's called the Fat Squirrel. That bastard's fat, but this company is a New Glarus Brewing Company, and they're pretty strict about not selling beers in other states. And I got it, and I'm in Texas, so
I've got an
because
IPA from Nuclear, so I think I got a Spotted Cow in my fridge. My
yes,
only beer that
Spotted
I have in the
Cow.
fridge. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't want to sell it
Really?
out of state. I like Spotted
Really?
Cow.
I've never tried this. I've never tried this one before. Is it good? What does it taste like?
This one's good. My brother bought me a whole case of their mixed batch, so I got a bunch of IPAs. And Spotted Cow is good. And then after after I'm done drinking that one, I'm gonna start on this bad boy. It's called Snickerdoodle Ale. So it's a Christmas theme.
I've seen
The
I saw that
Snickerdoodle.
before.
Damn, you're gonna make me thirsty, bro. I might go get myself something here in a second. Snooker Doodle Ale. I've never even heard of that, man. That sounds delicious.
No, I
Yeah,
just heard of that like about 6, 7 weeks ago during the holiday. Somebody had it
really?
at a function. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I try all beers
Or
from
maybe I'm
everywhere.
thinking of Snickerdoodle brandy. Is there a Snickers brandy or I mean something to do with that?
I think it might be like there is some Snickerdoodle like vodkas, I think, or maybe it is a
Yeah.
brandy,
Yeah. I saw
but
something like that.
this is
Sounded good.
a beer from Community Brewing, so we'll give it a try too.
Nice, man. Nice. So John, going back to the Lockheed Martin stuff,
Yes. Yes.
he sent you these pictures of this runway or possible
Correct.
runway. There's some interesting shapes on there.
Yeah, they're like
Did he?
geometric.
Yeah, he didn't explain anything as to what the purpose
No, sir.
of these shapes
No,
were.
sir. Nope. This was right before he terminated the contact.
Hmm.
Just like that military term I used, terminated the contact. I'm speaking like a cop.
Right.
But that's what he did.
Um,
He terminated our contact. I must have emailed him back 4 or 5 times. And the other journalist I finally emailed, he said the same thing, no contact. So
hmm.
hope nothing's wrong. I hope he just wanted to fade away and certainly I hope and pray that that's what happened. And I'm not going to get hyperbolic and melodramatic and think anything else. And I'm sure he's well and fine and got everything off his chest and
Yeah.
living life. I
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah, hopefully. So when it comes to looking up this firefight, and you said you asked around a few places, and you got these names, did you find an obituary or anything for the names that he
I
gave
didn't get
you?
any. I want to be clear. I did not get any names. This man has the names he claimed. He did not
Okay.
give me the names of the two soldiers. And I told him, I believe I told him in an email, you know, all you have to do is go in 2004 and see, I don't know, does the military post who died? I don't know. And we know they're Asian descent. I mean, do I want to get this, encourage people to start being, gumshoe detectives? And I don't, I, I don't know if that's good
For
for
And
anybody.
the better of the community or the America. I don't know. I don't encourage people to. You just all you're doing is poking a hornet's nest. So,
yeah,
and I don't
if
mean
that,
any disrespect to the dead airmen, and let their families grieve. I think that's probably the best course of action,
yeah,
my opinion.
yeah. I agree. What was that, Blue, you were going to say?
No, I said you don't want to go down some of those rabbit holes because then
No.
something might turn up.
Investigator. I don't. I wish I never would have started with the alien interview 5 years ago. I really do. I hate to say that to people,
Mhm.
but my life. I'm living my best life right now. I'm the happiest I've ever been. Maybe because I got accomplishments in this investigation. My marriage has never been stronger. My relationship with my daughters has never been stronger. Things in my personal and professional life are going great. So it did have a positive effect in my life. And I know people don't like to hear that because we all loved the doom and gloom of the UFO situation, right? Well,
Right.
that didn't happen to me. But you know, um, just all the long nights and the dead ends, and this is a tough racket being an investigator. And I really, my hats off to professional newspaper investigators and police detectives and FBI and CIA and all of these investigators throughout time and all of their professions. You have got a tough job. Making 80 phone calls and nobody ever picks up the phone, that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
chasing one lead in one rabbit hole. And somebody else said the same thing. You could go down a rabbit hole and 3 weeks later you're at nowhere again, and you're 3 weeks from not focusing on the real aspect of your investigation. So I chose this. Nobody forced me to do this. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I probably not the best choice I could have made, but I like to think that I see things through as a man, and I'm going to see this through and move on with my life. And the people
So
don't like that. They want me to, why don't you care whether the alien is real or not in the video? Because I don't. I know that the ET phenomenon is real. I don't need a video of it. I 99.99999% know what the provenance of that film is and all about that being. So it doesn't matter at this point. I know what's in my heart, I know what's in my brain, and I know what I think, and I know what I know. So, but it doesn't matter to me. If somebody comes tomorrow with the animatronic doll, I'll be like, hey, great, I proved it. It's fake. Um,
yeah.
25 years it hasn't happened. So
What video are people asking about? I'm not sure what they're asking about. You didn't get any videos, right?
no, I think they're
No.
asking about the 1997. It's called the
Yeah.
1997 Area 51 alien interview brought out, smuggled out by the whistleblower Victor. You can see it on
Oh yeah,
YouTube. It's
yeah,
all
yeah,
over the place.
Yeah, we
yeah,
showed it
yeah,
on here the last time.
yeah, yeah. Go look up in our playlist under
Yeah,
UFOs and aliens.
yeah,
We had John Stewart on before, and we were talking
correct.
about that alien
Yeah.
interview. I highly recommend going and checking it out. Um, Speaking about whistleblowers and people coming forward within the government, David Grusch is a guy that here has recently been under the microscope, been in the public eye. What is your opinion on Dave? And have you ever spoken with him? Do you know anybody who has? Things like that.
I know two people that have spoken with him, and I won't say who. Uh, and if Dave Grush ever hears this or comes across this, I want to be mindful of that, of what I'm about to say. Um, I think David Grush is telling the 100,000% truth on the overall aspect uh, of the story.
Mhm.
Has he gotten some things wrong? Has he fumbled on some things? Has he mixed up some things with his work history and stuff? We've all done that. I'm not going to condemn someone that was never a public figure, all of a sudden becoming a public figure and then recanting every aspect of their life. So I think we as America should give him a wide berth. This man was a colonel in the Air Force, okay? But he also wasn't military intelligence. So, and he
Uh-huh.
will tell you that. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. I think, in my opinion, that David Grusch heard some things, read some things, was told some things from highly credible people that disturbed him, and the illegal activities of keeping this program a secret, I think, was the trigger of him coming forward. And I just want to take this time to tell David Grush and his wife, and I don't mean to be. Let me start over. I would like to tell David Grush and his wife that I think I see what's happening. Um, the intelligence community is turning over every stone, looking in every dark alley, asking every person that has ever met David Grush, looking for dirt, digging up dirt on Mr. Grush. And I'm here to tell you, as a seasoned politician, albeit failed from the state of Illinois and going through stuff like this, that when the intelligence community is through with David Grush, they won't be happy until the American people crucify him. And that
Mm.
saddens me to say. And I hope that David and his wife can pull through that and see through that to the light at the end of the tunnel, because that's what it is when you are a leaker, a whistleblower. On the path of a whistleblower, Richard Nixon said, is always darkness. But I think David is strong enough to see past this. But I know for a fact that the intelligence community is going to try and crucify him. We've already
Oh
done it.
yeah.
When I saw that the story of him being in a psychological treatment, or a mental facility, I looked at my wife. I said, "Well, it's starting." Because what
Hmm.
did James Files, somebody that was claims by the FBI to be part of the JFK assassination, what did he tell me one time at lunch? He's like, "Mr. Stewart, first they assassinate your character, then they assassinate your dog, and then you know who's next." And he was right on the money. And when I saw David Grush, that story about him being in a mental treatment center, I went, "Here it goes." You know,
Yeah.
you got to make him crazy. And this is why they hire a Bob Lazar. This is why they hire that other microbiologist. His name is Dan Burish, formerly Danny Crane. Um, the government at times loves to employ people with sketchy educational backgrounds, or geniuses with sketchy educational backgrounds. Bill Gates, that doesn't finish college. Why? So if they go rogue and they leak, they can say this person's a crazy person. He never got a degree from New York University. And when I think about people with bizarre, sketchy backgrounds, look at me. You know, people think you're being used by the intelligence community. Of course I am. I mean, it's to soft disclosure. I know I'm
Hmm.
being used. It's stupid.
Hmm.
Look at my background. Automobile dealer, pro wrestler, politician from Crook County, Illinois. I mean, could you, you know, could you get any kind of more of a discredited background, or potentially where you can tell someone right off the bat, oh, he's a former pro wrestler, he's a failed politician, a car
Tom
dealer. Oh,
DeLong.
please, don't believe this bald fat guy.
Yeah.
That's a quote from Reddit, by the way. But seriously, the government loves this. And,
Yeah.
most geniuses can't sit in a classroom for 4 years in college and, go through your master's and do your PhD. I mean, my daughter's getting her master's at Northwestern. I mean, seeing what she goes through is incredible. And people like Bob Lazar are restless. They're hyper intelligent. And I'm not commending Bob Lazar. I'm just using him as an example here.
Mhm.
And in a way to discredit David Grusch is, oh, he was crazy at one time. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break. And again, there's people that are coming out. Well, he wasn't accurate about his when he started investigating and his timeline of his employment. I mean, if you sit me down and you wanted to know the last 30 years of my life that started with playing football at Memphis State, starting wrestling with Jerry Lawler, to being a small businessman, a car dealer, running for politics, running for governor. I mean, are you kidding me? You know how many
Yeah.
mistakes would make and have made? I mean, come on, it's unrealistic for someone to be that point on with their background. But if you're going to come forward, I know what people are going to say. If you're going to come forward with earth-shattering revelations, but maybe you should be a little bit more prepared. But David Grusch is not a public figure, was never a public figure, so I understand where he's coming from. I just hope and pray for David and his wife. Not that anything's that's gonna happen, but that he can go through the storm that's about to fall upon him and see the light at the end of the tunnel. He seems like a very, very nice person, a gentleman, highly intelligent, and I believe him 100%, and I wish him nothing but the best um, through this course of action that he has taken.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's definitely cruel. Some of the character assassination,
Yeah,
that's going on with Grush, and
right,
attacking his, PTSD, and this is a guy that
right,
served in the military. He's a
right,
guy that has defended our country in ways that probably most these that are questioning his
right,
mental capacity haven't.
right.
And so,
Has you ever seen
it's
someone die in front of you in an accident?
yeah, I have.
Yeah. Okay. Did you want to punch somebody in the face that tells you why do soldiers have PTSD? I've seen
Right.
four people die in front of me accidentally, in an accident.
Mhm.
Um, And, I'm not trying to comparison in the mil for mil I'm just saying I get it. If
Yeah.
that is a tenth of what a tenth of what the military goes through in combat related situations, PTSD, you should be lucky that's all you have. I mean,
Yeah.
horrific. So, who cares if he has PTSD? What does that mean? He's a liar? I mean,
Right.
it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah. No, I
So
agree.
yeah,
I
David,
agree.
David Grush, you're a hero. Keep going, my friend. I will meet and talk with you one day, hopefully, and you have my prayers, and you have the whole country's behind you. I mean that sincerely.
100%. You got the Drunk Turkey Show and their members behind you as well.
Yes, sir. But that's gonna say they're just drunks, but
So
I'm
are
not
we.
drunk yet. I can take another 10 more of these bad boys. They're only 5.2% anyway, so
Jeez, Blue. Well, you're trying to stay warm, aren't you? It is
yeah.
cold.
That's it. The
John,
cinnamon
what's that, Blue?
the cinnamon keeps me warm. But
So John, have you seen the recent UFOs videos that have come out over recent, the jellyfish UFOs?
Yes.
Um, what are your thoughts on that? And have you ever heard of that situation?
Yeah. I'm a good politician. I don't speak ill of other people in my profession, but I'm just curious how Jeremy Corbell is able to release top secret video, how
Mhm.
it's able to be monetized, and why aren't people like the news outlets, being questioned by the government for releasing that. I'm just curious. I am not attacking Jeremy. I don't understand how highly top secret videos that in my knowledge would probably have a cosmic clearance, top secret cosmic clearance. Anyways, the jellyfish video looks like my grandchild's Megatron, transformer, with feet dangling. It looks like a soldier or an alien in this bizarre armored flying power pack suit on, if that makes sense. It looks like to me. Um, I don't think it's a balloon or anything like that. I it 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 it's interesting. I That's all I can say is that it's interesting, and if it is real, it's actually a little terrifying. It looks very menacing, So
I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah.
The story apparently was, there's been a little bit of back and forth though. Some say it was like a ghost story, or have called it like a ghost story,
Right.
where it was passed down from, soldier to soldier and things like that. Before that video was released, you hadn't heard of that video or that incident occurring, or of a craft that
I have not. I've heard of. I've been told of hundreds of craft stories and the videotapes that are out there. This, that, and the other. I have never heard of a jellyfish or a Transformers type video. That did shock the community when that came out, because it was like, wow, this was not in our UFO lore, so to speak.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What do you
um
think of these crazy stories that came out of Miami from the mall? Have you
a
seen
lot
any of
of
those videos?
Yeah, it was not a busy day. It was an all city alert put out because they thought it was an active shooter. End of conversation.
got you.
Could there have been some kind of store that had a hologram, like like one of those stores that sell all kind of weird toys and stuff? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think there was aliens at the Miami Mall. It was an all citywide alert of an active shooter at the Miami Mall. That's why um, every available police car was there.
Mhm.
I really don't think you should look into this one. This is probably not. The air traffic was not stopped overhead. That is a lie. Um, all these other stories. That have come out of I've investigated it or asked about it, but I'm just telling you what I do know from several police officers that I know have that I'm friends with, that it was a citywide alert, active shooter, Miami Mall.
Oh
You
wow!
know,
Did anybody get
end of
arrested?
story. I don't know. And then somebody was lighting off fireworks too, and then on top of that, there was a brawl between like four or five young individuals. So a
Hmm.
lot of multiple things going on at that mall, and so that's my belief.
So Extreme Blonde has a
You are
question.
reverse engineering. How do you know if it's true? If we are a reverse engineer, I don't understand that question.
She's asking, if we're reverse engineering alien crafts, how do we know if it's a true UFO or UAP and not our
Oh my
own?
God, great question. I can answer that. So listen up. It, this is let me use the Reddit definition of John Stewart. This is the clown face fat guy, failed pro wrestler talking. I'm sorry, I'm ornery tonight. No, how most of the time, extraterrestrial craft and interdimensional off-planet interstellar craft glows, has this orange reddish glow to it, hue to it. Okay. Number two, um, the craft is seamless. It doesn't have any rivets. It doesn't have any machine parts beneath it or around it or above it, if that makes sense. It
Mhm.
doesn't have an FAA red warning light on the bottom like airplanes do. Um, Reverse engineered craft, you can see the rivets, you can see the lines in it, you can see tubing. It looks like something, it looks like a reverse engineered extraterrestrial craft. Um, but when you see a glowing, luminescent, orange, reddish, bluish, luminescent light that is changing shapes, and that's the number one marker. That's an interstellar, interdimensional um, craft. And somebody told me interesting today that for my vernacular is that you can't be interstellar without being also interdimensional. You have to use um, time and space continuum interdimensionally to move interstellarly. Now, I'm not an astrophysicist, but this is what I was told to, change my vernacular on this. So I'm going to stop saying that UAPs are interplanetary or they're interdimensional. They're both. You have to use both of them to traverse light years. If the closest star, if you put out a signal, it would take 5 million years to get to the closest star and then another 5 million back to get the signal back, so
Mhm.
um,
Right.
yeah, they have figured out how to traverse the space time continuum and as to its string theory and But that's a great question, by the way. How do you know?
And kind of brought me to another question. Are
Mhm.
you aware of, or did the whistleblower tell you if Lockheed Martin is in contact with non-human entities?
Well, I refer back to a video in the 90s on
Mhm.
YouTube, a Lockheed Martin executive. I can't believe that this story didn't become on par with Roswell. I mean this sincerely. An executive of Lockheed Martin in the 90s. The interview was on YouTube. He was asked to go in engineering room, the propulsion room, and when he walked inside, there was four. He called them little guys, and he said
Hmm.
everyone was acting like it was no big deal. So I would assume, based on an executive with Lockheed Martin, that yes, that there has been contact with extraterrestrials, and I would probably dare to say that that was done under the umbrella of the United States government, at Area 51 or Papoose Lake or Sandia Labs, Los Alamos, Michaels Airfield, Dugway Proving Grounds, at
Hmm.
those facilities. Yeah. I don't think
the
aliens have been brought to Lockheed Martin. They could have, but you know, again, when you have the CEO saying we have technology to go interstellar, and then you have another executive saying that I personally worked with little guys,
yeah.
what? It's the greatest line, and
It's
I'm gonna use this forever. From Larry David's show. Larry David's ex-wife walks into the room. She's like, "Larry, you slept with my sister?" And Larry David goes, "Wait, wow, what do you mean? Who told you that? My sister." Well, how do you know Lockheed had contact with aliens? Lockheed told me. How does John
yeah.
Stewart know Lockheed has craft that are interstellar? The CEO told us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Huh?
Jesus Christ, people, get
Um,
your head out of your ass.
Another question
Seriously,
was,
I'm starting to get mad. I'm sorry.
no,
It's
it's all right.
okay.
My PTSD.
I'm trying this new one. It's called Two Women.
Oh, nice, Blue. You're over here having two women while we're talking
Yeah,
about aliens.
this guy is promoting the brewery down the street. I'm
Hey,
trying to I'm
I'm
trying
trying to
to
get I'm,
solve the biggest mystery in the world.
I'm trying to get new
I'm kidding.
sponsors.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Uh, have you ever heard that there's something spiritual going on, whether it be
Oh, yes.
demons or
Yes.
religious?
Yeah, in this email, he talked about that there was um, a big Christian Jesuit um, division in the Pentagon and in military intelligence, and that they are guiding, they're using the Christianity as like the blueprint for figuring this whole situation out. Does that make sense? So yes, there are many people at the Pentagon and in these programs that are using Christianity and the Jesuit religion, or the Jesuit is a form of Christianity. There's a lot of Jesuits that are um, that are trying to use uh, the framework of Christianity to help them deal with this situation.
Hmm. Interesting. Um, Another question comes in, says, is it dangerous for you to talk about this?
It's a great question. Look, let me be clear. Uh, if you're a general right now, are you really mad at me? What did I do? Number one, I defend the military and the intelligence community everywhere I go and every time I get a camera in front of my face, and I will continue to do so. You're looking at a guy that in 2000, along with Mark Kirk, who became a senator and another Vietnam veteran, stopped the closure of the North Chicago Veterans Hospital. Are you listening to me? That the VA is still up and running in North Chicago because of me and two other guys, and we were all nobodies back then. And $135 million Jim Lovell Medical Center was built 3 years later. I'm not bragging. I'm saying nothing is more important than the military and protecting and backing up our government, no matter what you think, how right they are, or how wrong they are. That's number one. I'm a proponent, not an adversary of the government. Number two is I didn't bring the alien film out. You took it out of your facility and you let it on the internet for 30 years. I'm just finding out whether it's true or not. Why would that? Why would you be mad about me for doing that? You let it out. It's been out there for 25 years. All of a sudden, I start to investigate it, and now you're gonna, stick a microscope in my electronic life. I mean, that's crazy.
One
As
thing
far as
that
the
they
Lockheed story, if you didn't have stolen my emails, I wouldn't have came out with the Lockheed story. I mean, is anyone listening to me? And let me tell you, I'm getting upset here, but let me finish. If you want to know what I have, what I'm about, what I'm looking at and studying, knock on my door, produce your credentials, introduce yourself to me. I'll take you out for breakfast. I'll take you to the Home Alone house that's 10 minutes from my house. We'll take pictures. I'll take you back to the airport and I'll tell you everything, which is, not much. You don't have to steal my emails and wipe out, like yesterday, the contact names on all my contacts, so all I ever phone numbers.
Hmm.
Freaking come to my door, knock on the door, be a gentleman. I'm from the NSA. Here's what we found out. What can you tell us? We'll tell you. Don't go into my phone and steal my private emails. For a guy that all I've done is stick up for the military and the intelligence community and told
Yeah.
people, give these people a break. You have no idea the nightmare and the wild beast that this alien phenomenon has become over the past 70 years. And you're going to steal my emails? Shame on
Hmm.
you. So, no,
Yeah.
I don't think my life is at danger. I was told 4 years ago, oh, don't worry, we don't do wet works anymore, assassinations.
yeah.
It's told to me, government employee, but whatever, whatever. Um,
First of all, I gotta say, Kevin, not Spain. That's from the Home Alone spit. No, but one of the things is shame on the person that works on Congress that try to shut down the VA. Shame on the people that work the leading departments of the VA.
yes,
They need
sir.
to do a better job. They need to honestly do a better job. I
Yes,
honestly
sir.
have a doctor friend that works at the VA, and she tells me the sad stories.
Oh, terrible.
The the people don't want doctors do not want to work there.
Right,
Honestly, the doctors that do work there are military doctors,
yep,
and they're just there for their tenure.
that's
They're
right.
there to get their time in. And she tells me, it's sad because I work. She works two or three jobs, and they call her all the time because she picks up shifts there all the time,
Right,
and they pay her triple the amount of money because nobody wants to work there.
right,
Not
Hmm.
because of the type of patients that they see, but
right.
because of the pay, and
Yeah.
because of the type of morale that's there.
Well, yeah, the
The other
morale, the
doctor,
paperwork, the oversight. It's, Big Blue.
no,
What bothers me too is that, do we need a 16th aircraft? And you're looking at a guy that apparently I'm running for president of the United States for the Libertarian nomination. That's another story. But do we need a 16th aircraft carrier battle group when our biggest rival, China, is fueling their missiles with water? I mean, do we need the 16th aircraft carrier group? Could we maybe take, that $600 billion and shore up our Social Security, our VA program, more programs for homeless veterans with PTSD? I'm not saying not have a strong military. Of course, we have to have a strong military. Can we whittle it down once in a while and shore
yeah,
up the veteran situation? I'm
yeah,
sorry, there's no argument to that. I'm
there
right.
is.
I'm right. I'm right. We don't right now need a 16th aircraft carrier battle group. We have 15 Ohio class nuclear submarines. One of them could take out a continent. We don't need 16 right now.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
saying.
there's a
Just,
lot of
come
things
on.
that those when you really look at those spending bills, when you really look into
Oh,
them, there's a lot of stuff that shouldn't
crazy.
be there. It's
No,
pointless. It's worthless.
pointless. Pointless.
I mean,
And again,
I mean,
very important to
I
have a strong military, but I mean,
yes. There's also like I was watching this episode the other day, and it made me a little bit upset when somebody said, if I get drafted, I'm not gonna go. They can't make me go. I'm gonna
Right.
claim I have plantar fasciitis. Even if I have plantar fasciitis, I would still go if they call me. That's protecting my
Yeah.
country, and these
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
these people these days won't even do that.
Yeah. Yeah. My godfather died in Vietnam. I never got to meet him. So maybe I'm a little, perturbed by that. My father served in the Navy. Um, as a chief squadron troubleshooter for the aircraft training, tactical training group in Corpus Christi. That's where the fighter jets went to train from propeller to jets in the 50s and early 60s. And know a lot of people that have been in the military. And again, people, eh, this is near and dear to my heart. The military veterans should be at the top of the pyramid of this country. They should walk on water and rose petals and never have a care in life. I'm sorry. That's just you want to put your life on the line for me? And then I'm
Yeah,
not going to take care of you when you come back and you have PTSD or you have a missing limb. I mean, you have to have a
Yeah.
private company build you a house. Are you kidding me? And we're rolling off the 16th Aircraft Carrier Battle Group, and a veteran's got to have a private company build them a house.
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Am I waking up anybody that's going to be listening to this in Washington or in Alexandria, Virginia?
They're
Or
not renting out
the
hotel
kind of
rooms for
is
them. They're not
anybody
spending $9,000 a month on them
yeah,
just to house them.
yeah, I
You
mean, I
know,
know we need a strong military. I know that more than anyone. But my God, at some point, folks, Jesus Christmas. Oof.
So speaking of running for president,
Yeah,
this is a we'll get back into the questions here.
yeah, sure.
What is you sent me this? What
Okay.
exactly is this? Let's
This is
explain to
a
those that don't
hilarious
understand.
story, and I don't mean to change the tone of the conversation. In 2022, Jesse Ventura and The Rock were both teasing possibly running for president. Jesse Ventura has been teasing this for 15, 20 years. And I got so upset at both of them because I think they both would make great candidates and potentially win. I mean that sincerely, that I went and legally registered for the first time of any pro wrestler in the history of America, legally registered to run for president of the United States with the Federal Election Commission. I did. So I have my little tiny little place in pro wrestling history. And about 3 weeks later, I'm like, look, I'm not going to take this seriously. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I had too many things going on in my personal life and professional life, and so I legally contacted the Federal Election Commission and withdrew my candidacy. Legally, I got a timestamp letter. And on Tuesday morning, I get a text. And again, all of my contacts are gone. So I didn't know who was texting me. I assumed it was somebody from the Libertarian Party by the nature of the text. But it said, oh my God, third place in the Iowa straw poll. Think of you, what would have happened if you would have campaigned? And I do a F up. What are you talking about? Who is this? And they're like, don't you understand? You were in third place. I wrote back, I'm like, what are you talking about? And it was Justin Tucker from the Chicago Libertarian Party. I later found out. He's
Hmm.
like, you came in third in the Libertarian Iowa Youth Straw Poll last night. So I Googled it, Iowa Youth Straw Poll, and there I was as a candidate for president for the Libertarian Party, coming in third place amongst like 25 candidates. So I've been besieged with phone calls and laughter and, oh, typical Jon Stewart, crazy stuff like this happens to you all the time. And yeah, that's true. I guess if I didn't register to be president with the FEC, this wouldn't have happened. But it was a funny story. And, we'll ride it around the block for a couple of weeks and get some tread out of it. And maybe can highlight, the investigation that I'm working on and get some press for that and stuff. And but no, all the intelligence communities, you can calm down. I am not running for president. I would love to debate RFK, though. I would love to do that, and I will explore doing that before I withdraw. I would love to debate RFK on stage. I think it'd be a nice spirited debate, and I'd love to pick his brain and see if I could go toe to toe with him. And And I actually talked to a person from the Trump campaign who lives in Chicago, and I'm like, I'm just putting it out there. If Trump wants to debate me, I'm third place for the Libertarians, so I'm like Nikki Haley with the Republicans. I said I'll pay for the venue here in Des Plaines, Illinois, in a town by 10 minutes from my house. It's a beautiful redone old theater. I'm like, I'll pay for the venue if Trump wants to, debate me. He was laughing, and in my luck, it'll happen. Okay, Mr. Trump, I'd like you to.
Hey,
No,
why
but
not?
seriously,
Why not? Hey, why
why
not?
not? Yeah, crazier things have happened. So yeah, we'll get some mileage out of this, and
There you go.
you know,
Debate Vivek.
change some conversations. Yeah, yeah. Well, Vivek's not
Well,
running anymore, but
if you
Yeah.
need a mediator or a platform, a couple of guys here. We're more
you
than
got
happy
it.
to help.
You got it. I appreciate that. Yeah. So it's been this crazy couple of days and stuff, and so, anyways, that's the story.
Yeah, and so for those, this is Ballotpedia. Jon Stewart has got a
Yeah.
little biography
Yeah.
for him. He is running
Yeah.
candidate for president of the United States.
Yeah. So when I ran, I think they like grab information every week from all of the election commissions all around the country. And I think once you're on, I just don't think the FEC has put it in the system that I am not running. So that's why it probably has not come off yet. So that's that. I don't know what to tell you, but pretty funny being woken up. You're third in the straw poll. I'm running for president. I am.
That's awesome.
Crazy. Yeah,
that is awesome.
and
I mean, it's
funny.
You'd win president of the HOA, that's for sure.
it's one to put on the bucket list. Hey, I ran for president.
Absolutely.
Not many people can say that.
No,
there's only
no, you're right.
a handful of people in the history
Yeah.
of the United States that say that they
Yeah.
actually ran
For president. Yeah.
for
It's
president.
kind of cool. Kind of cool. Hey, life is a smorgasbord, and you better nibble at everything that you can. And life's a smorgasbord. And what's that saying? Most people are starving to death. So
Yeah,
you only go around once, gentlemen. So grab it all.
Hell yeah.
And you
That
can
was
tell
our
from looking at me, I haven't missed any entrees on the smorgasbord table.
yeah, that's our mentality too. We had the Washington Post come after us. We had ABC News come after us at one point, or not ABC. It was what, Dateline, Nightline, something like that.
Nightline.
Why?
And
Why?
we were covering a true crime case, the Brian Koberger case out of out of Idaho. And there's been a lot of like misinformation in that case, and some people were blaming this one guy who ended up losing his life in a neighboring town. His life was taken by SWAT. There was an incident that occurred a month after the quadruple homicide that occurred in Moscow. And a lot of different platforms were looking at him as a person that could have maybe perhaps done the murders outside of Brian Koberger. Us personally, we've never taken that stance. We don't even bring up that other guy. And I guess, mainstream media was looking for somebody, and, they contacted us. And even though we didn't ever talk about Brent, they were looking for somebody to blame it on. And so they just kind of like nailed us to the wall about it. And I was like, yo, we don't even talk about that guy. Like if there's like 4 or 5 other, platforms that are saying that this guy jumped off of a plane and parachuted onto the victims' houses and entered into the 3rd floor that way. Go blame that guy for the misinformation, not us. We're not the ones doing this. So we had that kind of come up to us. And then, our missing comrade, I was like, hey, how many people can say that the Washington Post mentioned them in their articles?
That's awesome.
How many people can say that they came out on Nightline? I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that Brian Koberger. I mean, when I saw, can you imagine that guy showing up at your house to take your daughter out on a date?
Oh yeah.
I'd rather have George the Animal Steel give me micro eye surgery.
It'd be one of those where I'd be like, tonight I'm
crazy eyes. You think crazy eyes? That's crazy eyes. Jeez.
Yeah. And it's pretty
terrible situation.
Oh yeah, 100%. And in my opinion, and we've talked to some of the victims' family members. I have connections with some people that may work in the court out there in Moscow, and maybe some law enforcement. I used to be in law enforcement, so I have some connections all over the world. And from what I understand, they got the guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he pleads because of all the crap
Yeah.
that they have on him.
Yeah.
But
Right.
there's a big movement that says that he's innocent, and I mean, it's not a big movement. There's a movement that says he's innocent. It's just kind of like one of those things where like the squeaky wheel's the loudest, right? It's not the
Sure.
best performing.
Yeah.
It's the least performing that's the loudest.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Angel had a question. She wants to know, have you ever witnessed anything personally that you felt was extraterrestrial?
This is kind of weird. Now, please, keyboard warriors, just listen to what I'm saying. Like 7 years ago, my dad's suffering from dementia right now, but like 7 or 8 years ago, my dad said, just blurted out kind of a story one time. He's like, when I was on the flight line, Corpus Christi in the late 50s, I looked over and at the edge of on the pilot's entrance side of an F9 Panther jet. He said, John, it was the weirdest looking human being I've ever seen in my life in a flight suit. He said, we had people from Israel and other nations learn how to fly planes there. That was common. He said, this was the weirdest human being I've ever seen in my life. And he goes, and I turned back to tell one of the other crewmen, like, who is this? And he said, when I turned back, he was gone. And I said, well, are you saying like he wasn't human? He goes, if that was a human being, then I've never seen a human being look like that ever. That's number one. I don't know what to make of that. Number two, my aunt and uncle and their spouses were in Upper Michigan, which is a huge hotspot for UFOs, right at the northern Wisconsin border. I don't know if anyone knows this, but Michigan has two sections. There's a section of Michigan over the top of Wisconsin. And when you tell people, they look at you like with deer eyes, like, what? There's two Michigans? Anyway,
Yeah,
so
'cause
we have a summer home in the upper
Great
part of
Lakes cut
Michigan.
it in half.
That's right. That's right. And my uncle and my aunt and their spouses saw she said there was like sparkler, like shiny, shimmery sparkler effect, but not actually sparklers, but that kind of effect coming underneath this craft about 2,000 feet in the air. It went down the entire power line, because they cut trees for the power line. He said it stopped. This was on northern Wisconsin, right at um, M M73, M73, right at the Brule River in northern Wisconsin. Oh, I think Nelma or Alvin, Wisconsin. And she said it stopped um, right by Bass Lake, and it shot straight up to the sky. And my aunt told me years later, we got home. She said, John, we weren't missing time, but we didn't talk to each other for an hour. She goes, and always looking back, I always remember that. Excuse me. She said that we did not speak to each other for an hour. It was like a really bizarre, uncomfortable, time back at the cottage and stuff. So that was number two. Number three, we have it on film. We saw this light dancing in the sky. Some people say it's the Venus effect coming through the refraction through the clouds. As that was happening, I looked to the right. This would have been like on US 2, kind of like by Watersmeet, Michigan, and a white dot right above the tree line, let's say 1,500 feet in the air, was going like this above the tree line, about 5 miles away. And right when it almost got out of sight from me, it did a loop-de-loop. This is in the middle of the night. It did a loop-de-loop and then continued on bouncing on. Now, what do you, a satellite was too low for a satellite. A commercial plane is not going to do that. A private plane in the middle of the night is not going to do that. That was very bizarre. And lastly, and I don't even know why I filmed, because I thought it was an American Airlines plane until I really looked. I went to Red Rock, the petroglyphs at Red Rock in Nevada. And as we were coming home, and my wife and my sister-in-law were in Italian, they call it cacarones. They're in the front seat. I'm like, oh. And to the right, above Blue Diamond, Nevada, it's this small trailer home like town, was this round metallic sphere about 5,000 feet in the air. And I just thought it was the front of an American Airlines nose cone, because American Airlines had stainless steel airplanes. So I look back at it again. I'm like, God, it's round like a beach ball. I'm like, it's not moving. It's staying stationary. And as I went to go grab my phone, I look back, it snapped off. I actually made a MUFON report with MUFON Nevada on that. It so just, kind of disturbed me. But it didn't fade away. It didn't shoot away. It snapped off. And the MUFON investigator, real cool guy. He was like, "Oh no, that's people say they call it a light switch effect. It's gone." So
Hey, you
so
know
there's
what?
some weird experiences in my life. Um,
I've
I won't tell
seen
about one in '88, but it was a daydream. It doesn't matter.
I've seen something similar. I've seen something similar. We've actually shown it in one of our first shows. I had a video of it,
Yeah,
and it was an orb. I was driving to work, and I had to drop off my kids with my ex. And in the middle of the sky, there was this round orb, and it was just floating there. And I live in a city where there's helicopters, there's military
sure.
planes,
Yeah,
and there's actual passenger planes landing, and it
yeah,
had nothing that looked like it. And that orb just sat there, and it moved back and forth for about a good 30 minutes. And it's crazy because it is an orb that I've seen it. I've seen
yeah.
it a few times, and
Yeah, they seem to be more prevalent than anything, the orbs, right? I mean,
yeah,
the spherical. And it's funny too that Big Blue, I'm sure you will totally agree with this. I lived in Chicago basically for 56 years. When you're driving around with somebody from Chicago that lived in my neighborhood, because I live by O'Hare Airport, when you're
right,
driving around with someone that lived in our area and you see a plane that's on a different flight path, like, hey, what's that plane doing there?
yeah,
Because we are used to seeing the planes
in the
land
same
on
area.
27, runway 27, or the coming in from the north. So when you see a plane on a different flight path or lower than they're usually, it immediately triggers you as an observer. Like that's not right.
Yeah,
So I hate. My point is, I hate when investigators or law enforcement or the government say that we aren't reliable witnesses. I can tell you in 10 seconds how high a plane is, when a plane is off course, when it's, something's wrong. In 10 seconds. So it's like you said, Big Blue. It's right away. You're like, that's not what I usually see in these skies. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
agree
Hey,
with you.
did you guys see that about a couple of hours ago? I just saw this right now. The Pentagon issued a statement in response to the jellyfish UFO.
No,
Let's see what they had to say. This is off of um, what was it?
wow,
One of the news places, News Nation.
Well, no
yeah,
comment from the Pentagon in regards to the now infamous. Well, no comment from the Pentagon in regards to the now infamous video of the so-called jellyfish UFO. That video, released last week by journalist Jeremy Corbell, appears to show a UFO flying over an American base in Iraq. News Nation reached out to the Pentagon and asked if officials would confirm the video's authenticity. They told us today that, quote, "We do not comment on the authenticity of alleged DoD material that may have been leaked. The Department of Defense takes the potential unauthorized disclosure of national security information very seriously," end quote.
Wow,
that.
that I think that says a lot.
I think that says a lot too. I think someone's in trouble, but who knows?
I do too. That is
Neat
interesting.
video. That didn't say it was official DoD film and stuff. So when people ask, "Do you fear for your safety or your?" I mean, hey, you've got people leaking top secret, you know, magic with the majestic clearance film. I don't think they're worried about a semi-retired car dealer from Chicago. Could be wrong.
Yeah, that is that's insane. I mean,
That's amazing.
if it was like a hoax or it was fake or somebody
Yeah.
created this, I'm sure they would say it's not real.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But you
Uh,
see the reticula or whatever you call it, the targeting crosshairs on that film. So that was filmed by somebody in the military, I believe. So
Yeah,
very weird.
that is weird.
And
That
that
is
thing is
weird.
creepy looking. Imagine that thing landing, turning into Megatron.
I think I
Where
think
is
that
John Stewart? I'd be like, he's over. He's got a blue T-shirt on right now. Big Blue, I'm gonna have to throw you under the bus. I'm sorry. Push comes to
hey,
shove.
it's
I'm
okay.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I lived the full life.
um,
Oh, I
yeah.
love it. That's the
Angel
funniest thing
asks.
I've heard all week. Oh my God, that dude, you are funny. I've lived a
Angel
full
asks, have you
life.
heard anything
Oh
about
shit.
portals?
Um, you know, you hear scant stories and whatnot. Do I have a personal opinion on portals? I do believe, because I know that, I know the basic uh, geologic makeup of this planet and just the overall weirdness in life and metaphysics that we don't understand. That, yes, I'm sure there are, you know, um, areas, spaces that that could house some interdimensional frequencies. Am I speaking politically correct? Absolutely, I
Mhm.
believe it's possible. And again, it's like the Bigfoot story. When you have people 1,000 years ago telling you about something who are not seeking attention, there wasn't the National Enquirer, it was just a fight for survival. And when those people 1,000 years ago are telling you of something in their environment, isn't that believable? And you've had stories from the Hopi Indians to the to Aborigines to tribes in Africa and sub-Sahara Africa that have all uh, have stories passed down of doorways and their language for portals and disappearing into the environment. So something's got to be to it. I'm a smoke where there's smoke, there's fire type of guy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And if they are interdimensional, they have to get here somewhere. I would assume there'd be some sort of opening for them to arrive.
Absolutely.
Whether it's
Yes.
whether it's on Earth or in space, and then they
Yeah.
enter into Earth's atmosphere.
Yes.
There's the possibility of that there.
Yeah.
Um,
Even a geologic disturbances. I mean, come on, this is fifth grade earth science. We know that we've got a spinning molten core. We've got a nuclear fusion sun, you know, 25 million miles away. I mean, it's hot. Well, do you think it could be this mass of hydrogen and nuclear fission taking place in the sky? I laugh at people that, they think the sun is, not causing any issues with our world, but yeah,
yeah,
our whole planet is this spinning geologic metallic, crazy train.
yeah. Yeah, you ain't wrong there. What about? I don't. I've never actually heard about Wilson Ranch. Apparently, it's behind Skinwalker Ranch. Seems to
Yeah.
have something buried there. Have you heard anything about any of the Skinwalker Ranch, Wilson Ranch, anything like
Yeah, I've
that?
had I've had a couple of conversations with people that hearken what I just said. There is something geologic under the ground of Skinwalker. There is definitely some sort of um, anomaly. I will say politically correct, an anomaly in the atmosphere above Skinwalker that they have not quite figured out. End of story.
Yeah,
I mean, that place is weird. If 5% of the stories are true, that is not on my bucket list of places to visit.
it's kind of on mine. I'm not gonna lie. I want, I want to go out there. Art Reese comes on with the 199 super chat. Thank you for your donation, and thank you earlier to Canadian True Crime Buff for her gifted memberships. We appreciate you guys. What are your thoughts that these are potentially us from the future?
I absolutely believe that is a 1,000% possibility and a high probability that many of the extraterrestrial beings that are coming here are from our future. Over and please listen to me on this, folks. I never state facts, and I never stamp my feet. I'm stamping my foot on this one over and over and over again. People that have had been in these programs with medical contact with these beings have said the same thing over and over again. They have some form of a neuropathy at the sublingual tissue, which is basically like Lou Gehrig's disease. This is true.
Mhm.
And there is a reproduction issue in their species. And yes, that many of them are time travelers coming back to try and figure out a genetic code or disposition for them to fix themselves in the future. And I believe that 1,000% because of the people that I've talked to. I would also like to tell you of a story. I was at lunch, and I tell this story often, and I see some photos that are placed in front of me. and one's got P45,000, P22,000. I said, we have 22,000 aliens. They said, no, that's 22,000 years into the future. And they told
Hmm.
me that, I hope I get this right, extraterrestrials are called extraterrestrials if they are from the lineage of planet Earth. If you are not from the lineage, the DNA lineage of planet Earth, you are considered an alien. Something interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I actually think
Yeah,
I've heard that before
yeah.
somewhere.
I don't know if it's true or not, but this is what I've been told, that, that ETs are from our Earth lineage, and they could be on other planets, but they carry our genetic material, and aliens have no relationship genetically with planet Earth. So something just, can you see like a colonel in his bed right now with his wife, and he's got the grandfather glasses on with a cup of coffee, like, who is this guy? He's talking to Pete from the future. He's getting on the hotline. He spills the coffee on the $400 duvet.
Right.
I
Um,
I've been on podcasts where I'm like, okay, any military person with their spouse, because there could be females, of course, any military person with their spouse lying in bed, having a cup of coffee, reading the newspaper, put your coffee down for what I'm about to tell you. So, it's you got to be a little comical about this because it is crazy.
yeah. No, it
But I
definitely
don't think
is.
people like that I'm comical about this. I'm not gonna doom and gloom my life. I'm sorry for the intelligence community, those in the special programs dealing with this. I feel for you. I will support you, but this has not ruined my life. I've never been happier in my life. And again, I think done, handled correctly, this is something that will bring the country and the world together. And I'm not going to be the guy leading that group, but it's my hope that that we can turn this phenomenon, and in the same time use the technology to keep America strong, keep America protected. Don't ever want to forget the military, and give props to the intelligence community. Um, but it has not been doom and gloom for me, and I'm sorry that ruffles some feathers.
No, yeah, no need to be sorry here, man. Nina says, "Have you ever heard of Edwards Air Force Base in California?"
Of
So I
course,
live by there, and I see UFOs out here in the desert a lot.
of course.
Is it under your? So your whistleblower said that Lockheed Martin had these crafts. I'm assuming that the military also has certain crafts as well. Maybe less. I don't know. I mean, these.
Yeah,
Well,
less
first,
advanced, more
yeah.
clunky. It's like Lockheed has a F1 Formula race car, and the government, has a 1947 Nash Rambler with bad bald tires.
Now, you had mentioned that the whistleblower said that Lockheed had a breakthrough, right? And
Yes,
they were able to
you're
build their
getting into a very
own.
touchy subject here, by the way. So don't just forgive me if I can't answer something, but you're getting to a very, very sensitive issue. I know where you're going, but go ahead. I'm
So
not threatening
they
you. I'm just letting
no,
you
no,
know.
no.
Okay,
So if they were able to rebuild this, were they able to do that with parts or pieces and technology made from Earth, or
that's
was there
correct.
an interesting?
Yeah.
Hmm.
The overall consensus, that is pretty well, I think, known and, uh, and in stone, is that I'm getting into a sensitive area here, but I'm trying to talk about stuff that's been talked about before, is that a majority of the extraterrestrial craft is, heavy in the metal of bismuth, molded at a molecular level with a biological skin that is part and parcel with the being controlling the craft.
Hmm. So
I don't know
they
what that means. Yeah, like the skin that this, formulating this bismuth on a molecular level, and the ability to have it, the skin of the craft as almost a biological synthetic skin, for lack of a better term. And that how many insiders have told us that the beings wear a headset and they control these craft with, thought projection and being one with the craft. As crazy as that sounds, but that's the result in bismuth. That's all you hear is bismuth, 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 molecular level. And obviously, Lockheed must have figured out how to do that. I know how they figured it out. I was told this. I don't know whether it's true or not, but it's something I would never talk about because that's
Right.
I can't
Well,
verify it, and I don't want to go there because I respect the military and intelligence community.
it sounds like a 22,000 years of advancement in the Neuralink
Yeah,
with certain other
well,
species to control,
quite possible. Yeah.
you know.
When 30 years ago, Victor the whistleblower said that these being the grays are they seem sentient, like made on a planet, but they are part biologic, part machine. And we got Neuralink now. We're going to be part biologic and we're going to be part machine real soon. So
Yeah.
get ready.
Yeah. That's what it kind of sounds like when you describe
Yeah.
some of these,
Yes.
these craft,
Yeah.
and that's
Very
kind of
true.
what it sounds like as well.
Right.
I just wonder if there's maybe, some sort of ability that certain, I guess, biological creatures may have, and that these
Well,
beings have been able to
yeah. Well,
control.
they have perfected telepathy, or as it's been told to me, thought projection, or they don't have found that I just heard this a week ago, this aspect where someone was told in these programs that the beings have eliminated verbal speech because it's too prone to emotions, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And tech and written speech, written word is can be misconstrued too. How many times somebody sends you a text and they're like, "What a jerk," and they didn't mean that at all. So these
Right.
beings had perfected with this hive mind to thought projection. My voice telling Big Blue, "Hey, buddy, kind of beer you drinking there?" Oh, cool. There's no ambiguity in that statement. And that's projected right into your head. And the beings have figured that out. So obviously, that must be some sort of a symbiotic mechanical relationship with the craft that they operate. They're using that same kind of technology or modus operandi, if I can use that term.
I think one day we'll get there. One day, we're close.
Yeah, I was going to say with the Neuralink, if there's some sort of network that people can connect to, and in the future, if that
Yeah,
turns into some sort of like phone inside your brain,
right.
um, you know,
Yep.
if you were to, going back in time to the 80s, and you just saw people looking at each other and they were communicating, you would think it's telepathy as well, and it
Right.
could be similar as to
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I mean, they're apparently well more advanced than what we are accustomed to. Um,
Yeah.
what do you
I think you
think
said it
that
on your
there's?
show. I tell people, well, why aren't the aliens and the beings and the ETs, why aren't they, taking us and making themselves known and helping our world go into the next level of, consciousness or the next level in the cosmos? And I tell people, think of the ETs looking down on Black Friday on America when you're bashing someone over the head for a $10 toaster at Target. You're not really ready and prepared to join the intergalactic community. Just my thought. So,
Yeah.
It's a $45 Stanley Cup at Target right now. Okay.
I mean, uh,
So,
s-
and somebody brought this up that, Christopher Columbus had supposedly seen
yes,
aliens. Uh,
underwater craft or lights or yeah,
has there been ever, talk of how long these beings have been here and been
yes,
traveling to Earth? And,
yes,
I know that Bob Lazar had mentioned that there was a possibility that they created us. In
right,
any type of anything
yeah.
of that you've heard?
Several reports that I can't verify because I'm not a geneticist, but you talk to geneticists even before I was really interested in the UFO phenomenon or started investigating this Victor interview. I remember on like the Discovery Channel in the early 90s, And I couldn't believe it. I was looking around like, did anyone else just hear what I heard? And there was a geneticist or a biologist, and they said, there's a spot in our human evolution, and humans, Homo sapien, kind of like skipped 60,000 years, and we can't figure out how that happened. And then they just go on to another topic, and the music rolls, and I'm looking around my living room like, did anyone in America just hear that? And you ask other, with the advancements in genetics, that we have junk DNA, that the end strands of our DNA or one of the chromosomes are capped, and that can only be done, with manipulation. You
Yeah.
talk to a geneticist that's not beholden to the medical community or funding, and your eyes will roll in the back of your head. It's very, very alarming. And beings have told abductees and told people in these programs that they've been they manipulated our genetics 160 times. I don't know if that's
Hmm.
true or not, but
Well, I know
it
that
says it in the Bible. I mean, people roll their eyes at what I'm talking about. And then 3 days from now, they'll go to church and listen like it's gospel that a man lived in the belly of a whale for 3 days, that a bush caught itself on fire and started to talk. I'm not being derogatory towards religion or Christianity. I've never had a better relationship with God, my creator, and Jesus in my life. But religion, I mean, come on. So, but you look in the Bible, right in Genesis, something came down from heaven, from the skies. It mated with women. It created this Nephilim, and Nephil. The root word is the fallen ones. It's not it's not so much giant. It's this hybrid race, and it says in the Bible, Noah was spared his life and his family because he was perfect in his generations. And that doesn't mean he was a morally perfect man. It means genetically, he was not contaminated by whatever came down from the sky and mated with women. And you can roll your eyes. It says it in your Bible. Is the
Mhm.
Bible real or isn't it? Is it a story or is it real? Is it allegory or is it history? I think it's history. I've never made fun of the Bible or criticized the Bible. And what did Jesus, and I'm not getting off on a tangent, but I'll prove my point here. What did Jesus Christ tell his disciples before he was crucified? When they said, Christ, when will we know your return? And Jesus said, quote, from the Bible, as in the days of Noah, so shall be the days of my second coming. What one event, listen to me, folks, what one event happened in the days of Noah that has never happened ever again in the history of the world until the past 70 years. Wars, famines, immorality, pestilence, natural disasters have always happened. There is one thing that is unique to Noah's time, that is unique to our time right now, and that is some kind of galactic something from the sky is breeding with people here on Earth. And this is exactly what abductees have told us for the past 60 years. So buckle your seatbelts because what Jesus said is coming true. Lock, stock,
Hmm.
and barrel.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of
Get
good
ready.
deductions
Well,
to
when you
come up
quote the
with it.
Bible, you know, it's the end of the conversation. You're laughing at that. We're laughing that an intelligent species traversed and came to our planet when Earthlings went to the moon and sent vehicles past the solar system. We can't thin out traffic after a Dodgers game, and we still went to the moon and sending probes out to our past our solar systems. We're the top of the heap in the solar system or in the galaxy. Jesus Christ, I hope not.
Yeah. Well,
Boy, I'm
if
going
there's
on a
something
rant here,
more,
aren't I?
I hope they don't find us. Because
But
what
it's
I know
true.
it's right, and I know it
Tom,
hasn't
Tom
worked out
plus the
for.
galaxy can make. We are in trouble, big time.
Well, maybe. I mean, I think, well, here on Earth at least, anytime a more advanced civilization has come in contact with a less advanced
Yes.
civilization. It didn't go
Yes.
well for the less advanced. So
But
yeah.
has it gone well for the deer in Wisconsin? The population has grown. We're in advanced intelligence more than the wild deer in Wisconsin. The population, we have, yes, we've hit some with our cars and tagging them. Some things have capturing have gone wrong. But overall, the past 150 years, the advanced intelligence has helped promulgate an increased number of in the species of deer. So, there's possibilities where, the beans have told abductees, we're not here to interfere, or we're not going to let you blow up the planet. And that's
Hmm.
been told hundreds of times to abductees. We don't want to interfere. It's against our rules, but we're not going to let you blow this place up. So,
Well, there's one thing about deers that I'd hope we're not like, and that's the hunting season, because that can be said from and that's one of the theories that is out there as well. That are we an agricultural project for these other beings? Is there
right,
are
right,
we the cows in the pasture that think that everything is
right,
great around us, and we're
right.
just walking into feeding somebody else? And
Yeah.
so you
Well,
know
I don't know if the cannibal aspect, but is there, but um, folks, we're not at the top of the food chain anymore. Sorry. And my ego, I've come to grips with that with my ego, and I'm fine with that. I am not the top of the intelligence, and I am not sit on top of the food chain as a Homo sapiens sapiens. So you're gonna have to deal with that. We're not King Farouk anymore. We're like a trout in a stream. Sorry.
yeah, no, I agree with you. It's
Yeah.
So maybe they're catch and release kind of fishermen.
Right.
catch and release. But there's been some people that have been returned.
What are they called?
Was it Fire in the
CPR,
Sky?
catch, photo, release. So
There it is. Uh, what about like I've seen a couple of these, I guess, documentaries where somebody claims they have like some missing time, and then there's like a metal object in their leg or their
yeah.
arm. Have you ever come across some of those type of stories?
Yes, I have. And I can only say is yes, sometimes people get objects in their bodies and stuff like that. But when you have you know, objects the size of an eraser head and they suddenly appear underneath your skin and and there's no incision made and something is going on there. And it's the repetitive story over and over again. The nosebleeds, something inserted in a woman's abdomen, somebody seeing a hybrid type looking child, and the beings wanting you to bond with it. And so, yes, I believe that there could be some sort of implantable thing. But what do we do with animals? We tag them, we track them, we put radar on them, we put stuff in their skin now and tag their ears. We do the same damn thing. But we're human beings. We're the top of the food chain, so nobody could do it to us. Well, you better wake up because it's happening.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
They
agree.
already bag us and tag us. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Well, I mean
We're already sectioned.
it's feasible that an extraterrestrial race trying to monitor certain individuals in our society would put some sort of or use some sort of tracking device to find us again, to follow up on experimentation or whatnot. So I do believe that objects have been inserted into people. I've seen them taken out in surgical documentaries and whatnot. No, I do not believe we're living in the matrix. Our life is way too mundane and boring and ordinary. I do not want absolutely at all believe we're living in some sort of a simulation. It's too freaking boring. It's too random. It's too stupid. It's too no, I don't believe that whatsoever. Uh, but I was just talking to my wife about this on the phone. Do I think though that there are so many things with our society and our world that we do not understand that could be considered, matrix level type things? Absolutely. 100%. With electricity and geologically and atmosphere and our solar system and solar winds and galactic winds and storms, and we have so much going on in this galaxy that yeah, the that account for so much of the weirdness of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's been one thing that's been out there, being the Matrix. I know that there's been some videos out there that look kind of weird where there's a plane kind of not moving in
Yeah,
the sky,
right,
stuff
right,
like that. People say it's a glitch.
right.
Um, I don't know. I don't think so either. There's just so much that would have to go into it. Like, for instance, I mean, who would think of like molecules and atoms to put inside in the very smallest pieces of materials? You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Yes.
I struggle with that one as well. Um,
Yeah. Like I said, we're living in the age of the videotape or video, and there's stuff called pareidolia and pixelation and that the electronic signal being interfered with. So don't get wrapped up in. Don't worry about the matrix. Take your kid fishing. Don't worry about the matrix. Make your wife happy. Don't worry
yeah,
about the matrix. Go call your parents and tell them you love them. Go to
yeah.
Starbucks and sit outside in the sun with a cup of coffee with your phone left in your car. That's how you handle the matrix.
Oh yeah,
Don't
yeah,
worry about dying.
100%.
Worry about living a full life.
So yeah,
Yeah.
That's my advice to your listeners and
live your
viewers.
life to the fullest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're
Um,
going to regret the things you didn't do once you die. So live a life with as few regrets as possible.
I'm
That's my
gonna.
advice. And don't worry about the matrix and extraterrestrials and aliens. And we've been here for, this planet has been here for 7 billion years, and it will continue to rotate and be here for another, whether we're on it or not, I don't know. But my God, we are living in 2024, where if your kid gets leukemia, there's a 90% chance that he could be cured or she could be cured. If he gets sick, it's the greatest advancement in medicine in the history of the planet. We have the greatest military to protect us in the planet. We can go anywhere in the country. We have the every bit of information to live like a god, a king, um, at our fingertips with our phones. Uh, you know, we don't have an excuse for not knowing anything. How do I be a pro wrestler? How do I be an astronaut? How do I fix my chair? How do I fix my laptop? You know, you can Google anything. You know, y- y- Wasting time on you know on things that aren't going to truly make you happy pains me about our society. And when I see all the young kids, they're on their phones. They're all out to dinner with each other and they're all on their phones. They're not talking, they're not laughing, sharing stories. That pains me. I mean, millennials are missing life here. I'm not
Yeah.
condemning them. I'm encouraging them. Put your
I
phone
think
Right.
down.
they're called
Sometimes
Gen
put your
X
phone
now.
down. Go take a walk. Go sit in your backyard and do nothing. Think about nothing. I'm telling you, change your life. Trust me.
Yeah, I do that quite a bit. I got
And
a couple
Facebook
more
and Facebook
questions.
and Instagram, all it's going to do is depress you because everybody puts the good things on, and you feel like you're not living a good life or the best life, and it's ridiculous. Don't feel bad. Go live your own life. Forget about what everyone else is doing. I know that's not easy, but that's my
Yeah.
advice. Go ahead. What's
Yeah,
next?
100%.
Yeah.
We got two questions left, and then we'll be calling
Okay.
the show. We're almost at
Okay.
2 hours here. The first one was it said, about the Antichrist taking alien form. There
Hmm.
was a series I had seen quite a bit long ago about these aliens that came. It was a TV series. These aliens that came to Earth, and they were helping out everybody. They were getting rid of diseases, getting rid of everything.
Right.
Gave them all this technology and all this stuff,
Right.
but they wouldn't, show themselves. And then at the end of the series, they show themselves, and it's red. They're red. They have horns. They have a long tail and hooves for feet. So it looked very demonic. Um, any type of demonic stuff when it comes to aliens. I know that there's been talk where the Greys maybe aren't so friendly, but is there any demonic type of description?
I don't want to get in trouble here, but this has been spoken about, so I will briefly speak about it. There is um, a large contingency of men and women at the Pentagon and in these programs that feel that there is a high demonic aspect to these beings. And I'll
Hmm.
leave it at that. You know,
Interesting.
God or Jesus said that, Lucifer comes as a bearer of light and performs works of magic and wonders.
Gotcha.
Remember that when you see that glowing, luminescent object in the sky, and people start seeing miracles, and just reading from your Bible.
Yeah.
Lucifer comes as a uh, as a bearer of light with magic and works of wonders. So pay
Yeah.
attention.
I know that Lou Elizondo, he brought it up on Theories of Everything podcast, where or somebody else had brought it up, where there was a spiritual aspect, and he was told by somebody in a high-ranking government official that there was a demonic aspect to the UFO
That's what I'm
thing. And
referring
so,
to too. So yeah, I'm glad you
yeah,
said that publicly, that Lou said that
y-
first. Yeah.
yeah,
Scary.
Lou. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. I mean,
But
and
the
then
Bible's been telling us this for 2,000 years or 4,000 years. I mean, why is this such a mystery to people? You've been reading it in the Bible since you've been born. Now it's happening. Now you're shocked. I don't know. Am I being a jerk? I don't know. You know,
No, you're not being a jerk. It's
when you go
just
to church,
um
go there to learn. Don't go there just to sit there. What is the priest, reverend, pastor? What are they saying? Read what,
yeah.
understand what they're saying. They've been telling you since you were born that the devil is going to come, that beings are going to come down and mate with, people of earth and have this hybrid progeny. You've been told this since you were 6 months old. Why are
yeah,
you shocked? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean,
So
but there's always the good part and the bad part, I mean, there's
yeah,
always like,
right,
you're having a bad day, you open it up,
right.
and there's good prodigy in there.
Yeah.
There's
I mean, look
also
at me. I've been investigating aliens for 5 years. I'm living my best life. I'm not saying that to brag. I am proud to tell you that following the teachings of this carpenter from Nazareth, this brilliant, beautiful man, and my creator and God, if people would like to determine that, has made me a better, happier person. So I'm investigating aliens, but my life has gotten better and I'm the happiest I've ever been. There you go. You want the formula to not have to not fall prey to what will happen in our life or society? There it is.
100%.
Walk in your faith, whatever faith that may be.
Yes, yeah, we do, or I do at least.
Good. Oh, you guys are good
Austin,
guys.
yeah, Austin asks, and this reminds me, this is gonna be the last question of the night, about the Galactic Federation. There was I want to say, Israeli high ranking official that came forward and spoke
Top
about a
scientist.
galactic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on the topic? Is there anything that you've heard about when it comes to this?
Again, we're the sideshow of the galaxy. We have the UN, we have NATO, we have all of these organizations between countries. Why is it so weird that higher life forms around the galaxy would also have a system of an organization or a grouping of individuals or beings that also, come together for the benefit of our galaxy or solar system, whatever. If we're the idiots of the universe and we do it, what's a big deal? This isn't a cartoon. What's the big deal of advanced beings having the same sort of common shared grouping? To come together and discuss or to you know uh, steer the galactic community in the right direction. I don't, I just don't see the kookiness of that. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm nuts. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I do see the connection, and I do see the point where there would be a what do you call it? yeah, that would make sense where they would have some sort of organization.
Yeah, like a
Uh,
Congress, coming together of different beings, individuals, cultures, races, whatever. We do it here.
I mean, there could be even some sort of trade, things of
Absolutely.
that nature. Uh,
Absolutely.
you know, if there was, and do you think they're trading with us? And if not, why not? Are we too
Well,
crazy of a species?
the only thing, well, you know, these are totally, you know, stories of conjecture, told by a colonel and another military person, um, with a couple of beers in them. But I mean, you know, there's a story where extraterrestrials ask the question, we don't understand why a mother would claw through a granite mountain to save their child. We don't get that. Why are you excited to go on a first date? This was asked to a scientist in an underground lab. This is conjecture, of course. Why
Mhm.
are you so excited to go on a first date? Just they don't get the bond between a mother and a child. That's been repeated many times by abductees. Um, they just don't understand our emotional state, and I don't blame them because it's gotten us into so much chaos and death throughout the past, 9,000 years. You know, um, Religion, especially. To believe in a set of principles and mores and dogmas that you've never studied, you've never wondered where they came from, and you believe in them so fervently that you're willing to be displeasurable to someone else who doesn't hold the same thought process about those religious beliefs, and in some cases, willing to kill that person for those religious beliefs. Maybe the
Yeah,
aliens got it right. I don't know. Something to
yeah,
think
no,
about.
yeah, that's true. That is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Um, I think that when it comes to or being organized with groups of other individuals, like for instance, if we were a species that got to that point of technological advancement, to where we would embark on trading with other entities from other
Right.
planets,
Right.
if we saw one that was probably had the technology to blow themselves up or injure our own, we probably aren't going to go up in there saying, hey, do you want to trade right away? You know what I mean? It might be some trust being needed there.
Can you imagine, Daniel, you and Big Blue, you're in a spaceship with 5 aliens, and you go to, and I'm not joking, and you turn on, Black Friday at Target in Buffalo Grove, Illinois, and someone's bashing someone over the head to take the last $10 toaster, and you tell the alien that device, there's 60 million of them in the world, and that device simply just crisps to make bread taste different.
Yeah.
The alien would take you and Big Blue and be like, "We're gonna put you off here in this island, and we're gonna leave, and you'll never see us." Come on, we're the freak show of the galaxy. Yeah,
Just as long as it's one of the larger islands.
yeah,
Um,
right, exactly. But I mean, just think about it. Just put it in those
As
terms.
long as it
Just
ain't Epstein Island, I'm good.
yeah,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
exactly.
Let's stay out of that island.
You know, and I think that they see that there is hope for this planet when a neighbor helps another neighbor for no reason. When a
Mhm.
father or a mother takes 5 hours a week out of their time to coach a sports, PTA, a bake sale, run this, organize that. I think they must see that there is an inherent goodness in most human beings, and maybe we have a chance. At least I hope
100%.
that's what they think.
Yeah, 100%. I hope so too, because you're absolutely right. If they come in here thinking that we're hostile in some sort of way,
Exactly.
they're gonna come with their guard up as well. Uh, I,
Exactly.
I want to thank you, John, for coming on. Can you let everybody know where they can find you and find your stuff? I'm
Yeah.
sharing your
Yeah.
page, but it's just not
Yeah.
popping up right
Yeah.
now.
I just Hunting Victor documentary on YouTube. My new book came out in November about Magdalena, the second Roswell crash. There was an identical craft that crashed the same day of the original Roswell crash. They found it in the Lorira Mountains. That's on Amazon. Magdalena, the second Roswell crash. If people would like to buy that on Amazon, I'd appreciate it. But yeah, there's a hunting video documentary. In my email, which I give people, it's a JONALANSTEWART@AOL.com. If you want to make a comment about tonight's podcast, that's great. If you have any information you think might be relevant to me, that's great. I don't need to hear that I'm a terrible person because I bashed Sergeant Slaughter over the head with a chair on ESPN 30 years ago. I don't need to hear that I'm fat, that I have crazy eyes. Okay. But if you want to, if you want to just email me with relevant information, I've been getting so many great, hey, my uncle did this or my mother was in this, and I want to tell you this, and maybe I can connect you to and have at it. Please reach out to me. So that's it.
Will do. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
luck on the rest of the election. I'm not sure how that's going
This
to
is
go.
going to get fun. This is going to get interesting. People are going to be like, I heard that crazy guy on the Drunken Turkey show. I did.
Yeah. Tell Trump we wouldn't mind him on our show. We want to get some fairness, but...
I'm going to swim towards you.
Yeah, any of them.
Thanks
I don't
for
care.
having me
Trump,
on.
RFK, all of them. Well, I appreciate you, John.
Yeah,
we got to do
I
this
love being
again.
on the first time. And anytime, as soon as you guys emailed me, I jump at it. I really enjoy being on your show, and you're two terrific young men. And I wish all of your viewers and listeners and yourselves all the best in 2024.
Thank you so much. We hope you have a happy new year and the
Thank
rest
you so
of
much.
2024.
Thank you.
All
Talk
right.
to you later. Okay.
Talk to you later, John.
Okay.
Everybody else, we'll be back on Friday. We got some things to talk about. There's been some news or updates in the Brian Cooper case, I believe. Nothing crazy, just some documents that dropped out, unsealing or the wanting of the unsealing of certain things. We're going to have our phone lines open up on Friday. So you don't want to miss it. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. You know what to do. Blue, send us out something happy and nice.
Wow, man. I had something depressing like always, but no, I just wanted to say thank you everybody for being on here tonight. Just keep your eyes out there. You'll see something. This beer is good company. Now this beer, sorry guys, y'all from Texas, I need to do better. Too much cinnamon. I enjoy the beer. I mean, if you ever want me to try a beer or our P.O. box is there, send us some beers, man. We'll try them from all over the place. I don't care where they're from.
And if you have videos, go ahead, Luke.
I don't know what crazy ingredients there is. Last time I had some that had reindeer dust in it, so we'll see.
Yeah, and if you have any clips, videos, ring cam green cam footage, I know that UFO or UF Toker sent us some ring cam footage as well. Send it on over to us, drunkturkeyshow@gmail.com. We'll make a show where we analyze and look through some of the videos that you guys sent us and give you guys what our thoughts and theories are on them. But I appreciate everybody. We'll see you guys